What is up, Dynasty DNA Strand crew, and welcome back to another episode of the Dynasty DNA, the Dynasty DNA roster audits. I'm your host, Wizz. Today, joined here by TJ Blake. What's going on, TJ?
Not too much, Wiz. Not too much. Sounds like with that little opening there, you're still recovering from that dive bar trip up there in Alaska. Tell the fans about that a little bit. You were telling me about that there at the beginning, at the opening of the show. I couldn't help but laugh, got a few chuckles out of it. I can't wait to tell the rest of the guys when we get together to record the show. Well, what about this place, Wiz? Where is this located at?
Oh, good little heart of the greatest last frontier on Earth, Alaska. Downtown Anchorage, this little nasty looking bar from the outside. And, you can't judge a book by the cover, so you have to turn a couple pages. The pages smell like BO is what I'll say. Fours were disgusting. I'm going to schedule an STD check, make sure I didn't get anything contracted just from walking in and breathing the atmosphere in there. So,
oh, I'll tell you what, man, I feel for you. Like you said, you can't judge a book by its cover. I'm sure you looked and seen things on the internet. And I'll tell you what, that's the bad thing about internet and social media, Wiz. They can always fib things and they can get you sucked right in. I'm sure that's probably what happened with you.
Oh, 100%. But I mean, it seems like you're in better spirits now. It looks like you're progressing through your stages of grief with Justin Fields being on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seem like you're doing much better now.
I'm still not happy, Wiz, but I look, 6th round pick. It bothers me. We could have got value there. That's where we got Antonio Brown. But at the same time, as long as he's the backup and can sit there behind Russell, I'm okay. But I already told you heard this on the Dynasty DNA show. It will be a circus. I'm telling you, you wait and see. That's how the Steelers are anymore. It's a circus. We're like the Ringling Brothers, and it's coming to town. Get ready. The media will be like, oh, who should start this week? Who should start that week? And we got a tough schedule, so it's not going to be good. I'm telling you guys, everyone's all excited. I've said it. Use this. Hey, if you get a first, I'm selling all the way, baby.
Absolutely. But today we're going to be breaking down CWill's roster. It is a super flex tight end premium. What direction you want to go in. He's just coming out of productive struggle. What some additional information we asked about the league to get a better understanding of it. League is somewhat active. Would like to turn the page to contend more. Looking to make a few moves to help strengthen the team. Draft-wise, what should I target? The league has just changed to a 0.5 tight end premium. What trades could be made to better strengthen my team overall? And he has the 1.4, 1.6, the 2.4, and the 2.8 for this year's draft. And additionally, he has his 25 picks other than his second. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, CWill, old school OG Dynasty DNA guy, a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show's. And I'll tell you what, man, he did a hell of a job yet again. He always puts together nice teams. And I'm not surprised when you're reading off some stats because I'll tell you what, looking at his team, I think with a minor tweak here and there, I think he could win this thing this year, man. I'm really excited to start breaking it down and getting into it here. And, we're going to go over those moves. We think we can help put you over the top here, CWill. Like I said, we love your roster, man, and excited to dive into it. But, Wiz, I know we were kind of talking about this a little bit pre-show. There's one big move that you and I kind of agree on that we like here. I'm going to let you start it out. I mean, looking at his team right away, you could always use a third quarterback in Superflex League. If I'm contending, I love to have a third guy. I don't care. Last year, I was, this, in the Dynasty DNA Listener League. I had Justin Fields, who was hurt for a period of time, really didn't have a third option. I traded up a first for Russell Wilson, and I had Muscles and them were like, oh, I can't believe you did that. Well, who won the league, Wiz?
Yeah.
Who won the league?
What was it thanks to Russell Wilson, though? So,
well, I'd say, hey, he's with the Steelers now. He is the starter, so we'll see what happens. But I did trade 112 for Russell Wilson. He filled in a spot duty, held that quarterback 2 spot down for me until Justin Fields got back. So, CWill, I think we need to add a third quarterback. I think we need to add some more running back help. That never hurts when you're trying to contend. And just a little move here and there just to give you a little more depth. Wiz, I'm going to let you jump into this first move we were talking about. We'll go over.
Yeah, so I like when I'm kind of going for contending, I don't want to really sell too much of my soul for a quarterback here. And right now, like, one of my favorite buys this offseason has been Aaron Rodgers, right? He's coming off that Achilles. The Jets have improved their offensive line a little bit, so it's going to give them better help there. Garrett Wilson is there, Mike Williams edition. So the Jets offense is getting overall stronger and better. And I think we're going to see Aaron Rodgers perform really well again this season in there. And that's one of my targets that I would recommend to go for right now. The 252 Eagles has him, and you have his first. And now this is the beauty of having someone's first when they should be trying to rebuild, right? You could sell this first for an arm and a leg and their next born child. Like, you get all that for that first in there. So to strengthen your RB room, because, I mean, you have a decent RB room, right? You have Jonathan Taylor, Devon A-Chain, David Montgomery. You know, those are solid pieces, but we know it's a body bag position, right? These guys can get hurt. A-Chain's not had the cleanest bill of health since he's entered the league. Jonathan Taylor has not. David Montgomery has not. So let's go target a running back, right? And 252 Eagles, he has Bijan Robinson. Now, he's the most expensive running back, and he might not be the best to purchase unless you can get him, and you have his first. So that's who I would be targeting right now. Give him his 25 first back, right? Like, dude, your team is the bottom of the end of the league, right? You have to do it kind of tactfully, because sometimes people don't realize how bad their team is until week 8 rolls around in the dynasty leagues. Just be there. It's gonna be a high first. It's gonna be the 101 or it's gonna be the 102. It's gonna be worth more than Bijan next year. Give me Aaron Rodgers and Bijan Robinson for your first, and then if you have to sweeten the pot, right, give them your first CWill, and then be like, but I need your second back. You're really just moving back 1 or 2 spots, and that first, for some reason, it just gives mind tricks on people. Like, oh, I get 2 first rounds, but now he loses a second, which is almost a first round pick. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. I like that move. I mean, I think adding Bijan Robinson would be huge. Aaron Rodgers isn't great. We know he's in the twilight of his career, but like you said, he is really devalued right now. He's old, he's injured, but if he's healthy, we know he can play. The Jets have made a lot of nice additions around him. As a quarterback 3, that's a great move. And that makes me feel comfortable, at least knowing I got 3 guys when I'm trying to contend going into the year. Another thing here, Wiz, I want to see what you feel about this. I know he's a little bit more needy at tight end. This is a tight end premium league. Could we trade our 25 first or his 25 first back to him? Can we trade him, JSN possibly? And can we go and get Bijan Robinson, Cole Kmet, and Aaron Rodgers? I wouldn't mind that kind of move either, considering this is a tight end premium league. CWill's got Jake Ferguson and Luke Musgrave. And I know we were talking about this pre-show too. I like Luke Musgrave. I like the upside, but I am worried with the injuries. And we did see Tucker Kraft play really well last year when he filled in that role. So, I mean, if Luke Musgrave goes down again and Tucker Kraft looks good, might be harder for him to get that job back. So, when you're trying to contend, you need depth. And I mean, if you add Cole Kmet, if they're all rolling, if they're all playing really good, you could put all these tight ends in a flex spot in a tight end premium league. That's awesome. That's how I won a couple of my leagues last year. Take advantage of it, man. And I think with this Bears offense, that could be huge. So that's another, that could be another updated move you can make there, CWill. And I think that's the key. Like, if you talk to him and say, look, I got your 25 first. If you make this trade, you're weakening your team even more. You need to rebuild. That could be the 101 next year, like you said, Wiz. So that is a really convincing argument. And then you send him a piece like JSN that gives him another prospect type of a guy, that he could use possibly and go towards his rebuild. And he might not really help you right away. CWill, given the state of affairs in Seattle. So I like that move. And if you can make that happen, I think that'll be another positive for you. I know that we were talking too with running backs. That's huge when you're trying to contend. And there's a couple guys, that I love to target. I don't know. Like, I seen the guy that has Miles Sanders with, like, to me, this is like one of my favorite. Like, when I go to the thrift store, like, I love going to Goodwill and like, oh my God, like, I remember I had that when I was a kid. Oh, it only cost $1. That's great. That's the same way I feel about Miles Sanders right now. I've been getting them for late thirds and 4th round picks all over the place. They paid this guy. He's got to perform. New coaching staff coming in. I think they're going to try to get the best out of him. I'm not a Chuba Hubbard guy. I'm not saying it ain't going to be a more of a split backfield, because we're seeing that all over the league. But if you could get more running back help that can put up consistent numbers for them kind of prices, I like that move. But unfortunately, the guy has him up towards the top, so I don't know how effective that would be. Another player that I like to target is Devin Singletary right now. He's another guy that you can bring in as a depth running back piece. And I know we were talking about a trade with CWill has what, the 204 and the 208. Am I right?
Correct.
So I know we were talking about a trade with the guy that has DeAndre Swift. Am I right?
Yep.
Which team's that? I'm trying to flip through these.
That's J.K. Taylor.
J.K. Taylor. Okay, so let's scroll down to him here. And I'm not opposed to taking them second-round picks and flipping them and trying to get more running back depth as well. Let me see here. J.K. Taylor. All kinds of tabs open here. Right here he is. Okay, so 204 and 208. Could I flip those picks and get Devin Singletary and DeAndre Swift? I would try that. Maybe I would even try to see if he would give up Devin Singletary, DeAndre Swift, and either A.J. Dillon, who I don't like, but it's another body, or Antonio Gibson. Maybe, I would try starting there first, see if he would do it. If you have to take like Gibson and A.J. Dillon out of the deal, that's fine. I would still do that for Singletary and DeAndre Swift, considering where your team's at, CWill. And if he don't do that, I know that you and I were talking, Wizz, this running back class, there's going to be a lot of guys there, like more of the top guys that get picked as far as draft capital goes. You could probably get a lot of them guys at 2.4 or 2.8. So it could be a preference thing for you, depending on who you like. I know, like for us, Blake Corum, Trey Benson. If he would be there, I doubt it. He might go a little higher. I like Jonathan Brooks, but if you're trying to contend, you're really not going to get much out of him this year. I love Marshawn Lloyd. I know Wizz isn't as high on him, but I do like him. So, you can maybe grab him at 2.8, depending on where the draft capital goes. Jalen Wright's a guy that's getting a lot of buzz. So, do you agree with that, Wizz? If you can't make a trade for like a Devin Singletary and a DeAndre Swift with them seconds, I'm okay with drafting people like that, depending on how it all shakes out with draft capital. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. And these draft picks are going to get more valuable the longer you hold on to them. So you don't have to make up your decision. You don't have to trade these picks away right now either. You can be on the clock. I'm guessing hopefully it's a slower draft, so you have time to trade. But I was thinking of another nuclear option possibly here, and I wanted to see what your thoughts on this one. So if you go over to J. Dougie, he has Matthew Stafford, he has Christian McCaffrey, and he has Keenan Allen on there. He's the fourth projected, the fourth worst team in the league. And he also has Travis Kelce as a tight end.
Okay.
Would you be willing to give up, right? So I see CWill, he has Quentin Johnson on the team. That's a big ick for me. I want him off my team.
You're right.
But, would you be willing to do like Quentin Johnson, the 106, and maybe the 104 for Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce, Christian McCaffrey, and Matthew Stafford? Do you think that could get it done?
Tough. Oh, I think it could get it. If I was the middle of the road or a bottom feeder, that would probably do it for me. It definitely is close. It ain't like it's, but yeah, you're really going all in. I would say I'm fine with that as long as you for sure, like CWill, like you want to win now. But the bad thing is you're trading a lot of dynasty value for win now. But like you make a move like that, chances are, you probably could win. But I like that you're thinking there, Wiz. If you wanted to go crazy, balls to the wall type move, I don't mind that either. But that you're going to go for it. That could get it done. As far as maybe helping you win, as long as everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, but it's for sure the nuclear option there. And you probably keep some of your dynasty overall value for the next coming years. But I think that's a realistic trade you could make for a win now.
Yeah, and I like Christian McCaffrey, and I know what you're saying, Wiz, about this being a mega like trade, like a hitting the big button, blow it up as far as what you have draft pick wise. But when you're getting them kind of pieces, you can win. If you have a really good feeling about your team and you want to get some veteran help, I think it's a good deal. One thing about Christian McCaffrey is he is a little bit of an outlier. I mean, that's the thing about him. I mean, like, you know, I could see him still being pretty productive for the next 2-3 years at least. So at least you're getting some, you know, good production there. Matt Stafford, we know, is close to the end, but still a solid player, you know. But some of them other pieces, yeah, I mean, you're giving up draft capital and youth, but you're getting a lot of good quality talent coming back, at least for maybe 2 years, maybe 3. So that could be an option too. You know, and like, you know, I mean, like I said, Wiz, I love to go thrift shopping. You know, I love to go down there at the bottom of the barrel. And this is for you, CWill, because this is another Dynasty DNA Listener League ploy that I made, and Wiz can attest to this. Last year, I got this guy off the waiver wire. I think I played him in like 4 to 6 weeks of my games last year. I got to go back and look, but really helped me when I had injuries, filled in nicely. A player that I like, Jonnu Smith, going to the Miami Dolphins. This is a value buy here, CWill. I'm not saying you have to start him, but looking at your tight end room, let's say you can't make one of these trades where you get like a Cole Kmet back like we talked earlier. This is a trade that's going to provide you a little bit more depth. I like him moving to Miami. Miami has not been friendly to tight ends, but the big reason why is because they either have a shitty blocking tight end that can't catch, or they have a pass catcher that they don't want to use because they can't block. Jonnu Smith can do both. He can block, and he's a good pass catcher. He's a lot better than Durham Smythe or whoever the hell they had last year, that scrub. Jonnu Smith's way better. And I think you can get him for like a 4th-round pick. And, I mean, like, I just look at your team, CWill, and if you can make some of these trades where you get like a Bijan Robinson, like Wiz said, or if you go for that big deal, like something like that for Christian McCaffrey, I don't mind it. But if you can't get another tight end back, I have no problems giving up a 4th-round pick for Jonnu Smith. And that just makes me feel a little bit better having him sitting behind Luke Musgrave, because let's be honest, this is tight end premium. If you have an injury or two, this could be a player that saves your season. You know, I mean, if you lose both, let's say, God forbid, but you lose Jake Ferguson and you lose Luke Musgrave for like 2 to 3 weeks, this could really help fill that gap for you. Maybe, I'm not saying it's going to hit for sure, but everywhere Jonnu Smith's gone, he's been at least solid. Even in that horrendous New England offense, which was terrible, he still looked half decent, but he really tore it up with Atlanta last year. Wiz, I think this is a good value player as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially for cost effectiveness, right? I mean, you're paying a 4th-round pick. That's probably not going to hit unless there's another Puka Nacua in this draft, which odds are that was a fluke. Probably not going to happen again for a long time. So I'm down with that trade 100%, and just adds more depth there. And then going over to the second part of his submission, he asked about what kind of targets would we do for his draft capital with the 4 and 6?
Yeah. Well, definitely, you know, I mean, looking at your team, CWill, I mean, it just depends on where these quarterbacks go. If they go in the top 5, all 3 of them, and one of them sitting there, I think you got to go with one of them. And maybe that's like before you make some of the trades we suggested, maybe be a little patient, because maybe you get a Jaden Daniels at 4. Maybe you get a Drake May at 4. We were talking about this before the show, Wiz. If they go in the top 5, I have a hard time not picking all 3 of them in the top 3. I just do. I mean, because we seen it with Justin Herbert. A lot of people passed on him. He was a top 10 pick. A lot of people passed on him. And boy, what a big mistake that was, you know. So I don't know, man. I mean, if it's me, if them quarterbacks, if one of them's there, I think I'm going to go with one of them at 4. We'll see where they land. And you know, you have access to the Discord too, CWill. We can chat about it in the Messenger. We can chat about it on the trade tab, whatever. But that's someone I'm definitely looking at your team. If them quarterbacks are gone, or let's say, you know, you're not feeling Drake May. Let's say he goes to New England or something, and you just don't have a good feeling about it. I mean, I have no problem taking Malik Neighbors either. You just take the best player on the board. I have no problem with that either. What say you, Wiz?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's still kind of hard because we're still waiting on draft capital. That's what's going to solidify most of these positions, where they're going to be drafted and whatnot. But I agree. You know, if May or Daniels are at 4, you got to take one of them. If not, I mean, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., which is a good prize, you know, 100%.
Yeah.
And then like for 6 or 7, for pick 6, you know, Neighbors will probably not be on the board. So you're basically tossing up between Odunze and Bowers. And I think that's going to come down to landing spot for me personally to determine who I would go there. If Bowers goes to the Chargers, I'm probably going to be fine with taking Bowers at 6, and then that completes your tight end room right there. You don't have to worry about it. Or if a Dunze goes to a really nice lane spot, I might take him ahead of Bowers. It's just best position available type of thing. In your wide receivers, I mean, you have good wide receiver depth, right? Puka, Jalen Waddle, Tank Dell. You have Calvin Ridley. Maybe he does something. I would 100% move off Quentin Johnson. Ick. Gross. Disgusting.
JSN's another one. I'm not saying I'm not a JSN disbeliever, but I think where you're at, CWill, I think you're better served to package him in some kind of a deal to where you can get a better asset. Like something that can help you now, because I think you can win this, man. And honestly, I think what I would do is, if I was you, all these trades are fine, kind of what we're recommending, but I would just wait till the draft and let's see where some of these people end up. Because like Wizz said, you could fill your third quarterback role with Jaden Daniels or Drake May. That's a check mark. At least you got somebody sitting there that possibly is going to be available to go for you this year if you do have an injury. Number 2, I mean, at that 106, I like Rome Odunze a lot, but unless Brock Bowers goes to a terrible situation, looking at your tight end room, considering this is tight end premium, I would probably go Brock Bowers, because I'm going to say this, man, not very often are there generational type talents and drafts at different positions. And boy, we got a plethora of them this year. And Brock Bowers is that guy at the tight end spot. Like, I love the Chargers. I think Cincinnati would be really nice. I mean, there's some other ones down there too that are a little bit interesting. So let's see where he goes. I mean, if he were to go to some horrible landing spot, then okay, maybe you could make the argument you're a little scared off. We could get a tight end in a trade like we talked about. But right now, as it sits, I mean, if you were to grab, let's say, Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison at 4, if you got lucky, if Harrison fell, if them quarterbacks did go, I think you would definitely be better served to take Brock Bowers at 6. But if you do take, a quarterback, then that opens up the conversation for Rome Odunze again. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I've said this, Wiz, and I said it, I like these guys at the top of the board. I like Marvin Harrison. I like Malik Neighbors. I like Rome Odunze. I like Brian Thomas. But there are a lot of good receivers sitting there in the second round. I love Jalen Polk out of Washington. I love Roman Wilson out of Michigan. Them type of guys I think will go in the second round. I think they get better draft capital than some people are predicting. And we'll see. I like Lab McConkey, but I think he's more of a back end first round guy as opposed to a second round guy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think all these trades are legit, but I think we'll wait for the draft. Let's see where some of these landing spots are, and then we can make our moves accordingly. But I'd say overall assessment, CWill, the big things that you need to do to take the next step. We got to fill that third quarterback spot. That's number 1. Number 2, let's add more tight end and running back depth. If we can get a big play player like Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison, that's just an addition, a plus to me. So, I mean, let's see. But, honestly, Wiz, I mean, I know you're not a Quentin Johnston fan. I'm not either. JSN, someone, like I said, I still believe in. I mean, I'm not kicking him just to the curb for no reason, but I think you need to try to get an asset that can help you now. I mean, could you shop JSN and Quentin Johnson and try getting your hands on like a 108, a 106? Maybe you could even get a little bit of a plus. I don't know. Some people value Quentin Johnston differently. I was in a mock draft with a guy that said, I would easily buy Quentin Johnson for the 111. And I thought, yeah, I said, I wouldn't. And he's like, well, I wish I played in the league with you. I said, yeah, me too. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, some people value these guys different. I mean, shop around, your league mates. But I'm telling you right now, if I could package JSN and Quentin Johnson and get like 108, 109 plus, I'm doing that too, because this is a deep class and you can use them picks too for like a trade for like a Bijan Robinson, kind of like we said earlier. Because I like Devon A-Chain, but I just don't see him being a reliable option week after week in that running back 2 spot to where we can do some damage and win, So, I mean, I don't know how you feel about A-Chain, but I kind of feel that way, Wiz.
Oh, man, I love A-Chain. I love him a lot. Yeah, but injuries definitely are a big concern there. So, I mean, worst case, he's target Mostert. Mostert's going to be a great cuff, right? I think they're like a 1A to 1B in that offense. Used pretty interchangeably. So, I mean, that's not also bad. I mean, you could trade him probably get Mostert for a third, probably down there. He doesn't have much value. So I mean, just solidify that, and I would just be careful your wide receiver room. If you decide to take a quarterback at 4, your wide receiver depth is going to go down, especially if you move Quentin Johnson and JSN. So it might be something else you might want to just kind of look at in there. Make sure you get a wide receiver back in one of those trades if you do move one of those guys. And then for like Discord wise, once the NFL draft kind of happens, we're going to be doing these mock drafts regularly. We're going to be real active in there as well, going through there just for everyone to help gauge our value of where we could possibly wait and let people slide so we could take them back later in the draft. And it's just a great tool, great exercise for everyone in there. So you're active in Discord. Really see you coming up on there. So
I got the master plan. You ready for this? Okay. This is how I feel. Now, if Marvin Harrison slides to me at 4, I'm not saying I wouldn't take him because, I mean, that would be a really nice gift. But let's just say this. Okay, let's say he goes. I could get Drake May or Jaden Daniels at 4. I'm doing that. As that sits right now before we know landing spots. 106, I'm taking Brock Bowers. Right there, you address your quarterback 3. You address your tight end position, not only with just a veteran, but you get a nice, young, talented group of guys in there. And then I would take JSN and Quentin Johnson and shop around. Could I get the 108, 109 plus? Could I just get it straight up? I think I'd take it straight up because at 108, I'm taking Brian Thomas. I know that we kind of talked about him too, Wizz, before the show. I love him. I mean, if I could get my hands on that pick and take him, I think that's a hell of an upgrade. Like I said, we got to see where they go. And then I would go into the second round. I'd take Roman Wilson. I would take Jalen Polk. I would take maybe a running back with the other pick if you want to take one or the other, vice versa. Then I'm going to take my 3rd and 4th, and I'm going thrift shopping. Can I take 2/3, 24 and 25? Can I get Devin Singletary plus, a little plus? You know, could I do that? Could I take that 4th and get Jonnu Smith? I'm adding veteran players on picks that very rarely hit. So you're solidifying that. So I think that's what I would do. That's how I would lay out my strategy right now, throwing my cards down on the table. CWill, I think that's what we'll do, brother. But like I said, we're going to talk in the Discord about this as well. But I think that if I have them picks, I'm going to go that route. But I think what I want to do is kind of like what we talked with. Let's wait till the NFL draft. If some of these landing spots don't work out the way we like them, maybe we can make one of these trades we talked about to improve your roster as far as a trading standpoint goes. But you have a lot of picks, and I think some of these guys could really help you. I mean, depending on what goes on, we'll see what happens. But I think that's my strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really nice strategy too, and just be fluent with it, right? This plan might not work out, where all these landing spots, we're just kind of predicting and hoping for the best in there,
right?
And it's a good scenario. Especially, Roman Wilson gets a nice landing spot. I don't know, TJ, if you have a landing spot in mind that you want him to be, or
it just depends. I mean, like I really off the top of my head, it'd be tough. Like I would like maybe like Jacksonville. I think that could be sneaky, somewhere like that. They don't have the greatest second receiver now. Somewhere like that possibly. I'd like to maybe see him in Cincinnati. I mean, that ain't that far from Michigan. I mean, we know T. Higgins is having trouble there. I think there's a good chance he walks out the door. I wouldn't mind seeing him in San Francisco. Same thing, Brandon Ayuk, causing a little trouble. There ain't too. Does he go to Michigan, go back with Jim Harbaugh and join Justin Herbert? That could be a good spot too.
What if he stays in Michigan with Detroit Lions?
Well, I would be a nice spot, but there's so many mouths to feed in that offense already.
I mean, Josh Reynolds is gone. We saw him be productive. Jameson Williams isn't living up to the hype. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean it's a high flying offense. They just got Laporta and Amon-Ra, and then Gibbs catching passes. But I mean, but Roman Wilson, I'm telling you, you can bookmark. I think he's going to be a nice player in this league, and I think where you're going to get him in the second round, you'll be really, really happy. Like he's one of the guys that I'm specifically targeting.
Yeah, Fantasy Receipts already has a bookmark. Don't worry, TJ.
That's it, baby. I don't take back my library card. I don't take my books back. That's the thing. So that's the thing. They can go and give me that. But no, like I said, I'm going for that. That's my draft plan. But that's what I would do, CWill. That's what I would do. Let's just wait to the draft because you got all the cards right now with those picks, and I like having all the cards. So
absolutely. But hopefully, CWill, this helps you out. And for anyone that's watched this video and wants their roster reviewed, it's real easy. All you have to do is join our Discord, which is link will be in the description. It's also on the Dynasty DNA Twitter page. The link is up in there as well. 100% free to join. You have access to. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, DFS is kicking off right now. Baseball's kicking off. NASCAR's been kicking off. We had a down week this week with the good old what are those road courses called? Like
I know the super speedways or something like that. I don't know.
like that. Yeah, 89 laps for a NASCAR race seems a little short, but hey, I mean, it was a down week. Probably bounce back this coming week, hopefully. Sterling talking to you.
That's it. Sterling, we need it.
Absolutely. But yeah, guys, so appreciate it. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, anything down there. What's your thoughts and opinions? Would you do something else different that we did not suggest for CWill's roster? All that information is great to know. But until next time, guys, adios.
See ya.